In this video, we're going to discuss how to save money in the Philippines because it is, regardless of your budget, it is very easy to spend more than what your budget is. There are so many needs here in the Philippines, and many of us want to help out hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of other people, and even though we might not have the wherewithal to do that. So my first advice is get a horse. Actually, I'm just joking, of course, but that is an idea. You can use the cheaper forms of transportation. Number one, you can use jeepneys. Be careful, pickpockets on jeepneys. If you do that, you can use buses. Buses are very cheap to use here in the Philippines, and even if you need to go from island to island, a lot of those buses they will put that bus. You'll take a bus, for instance, Cebu City over to the south end of Cebu City if you're going to Dumaguete, and that bus will get on a ferry, a roll on, roll off that takes vehicles, and then you get back on the bus when it gets to its destination usually north of Dumaguete, for instance, or Bacolod, Iloilo, other Siquijor, Bohol, other islands, and you get back on the bus and it'll take you on from there into whatever city you're going to. Very inexpensive. Now, a bus going south to the terminals in the south of Cebu, for instance, probably cost you right around 200 pesos. Somebody correct me if they've taken a bus recently. 200 pesos, less than $4 for a little over probably a 4-hour drive maybe. And a taxi would charge you 3,500, 4,000, 4,500, probably something like that. And the next way to save money is if you're going to eat out, eat like the Filipinos do. This place is in the downtown area called the Barracks, and relatively new. In the last year or two, it has popped up. Got tons of food stalls in here, and if you're interested in opening up a food stall, they've got a lot of vacant spaces in here as well. But occasionally in my walks, I stop in here and have like a smoothie or something, get a little energy. In fact, this is a walk I walked from SM Seaside all the way back into downtown. About 6.5, 7 kilometers, I think. 3.5, 4 miles, something like that. Now, I have eaten what you would call street food a few times, and I have not had any issues with it. I have eaten, well, wherever you eat around the world, you can get some kind of upset stomach, a little bit of food poisoning. But if you're real sensitive, I tend to be a little bit sensitive. I am careful.
Oh, nag-vlog man si Busing, di ba ba?
Yeah, vlog.
Yeah, you're vlogging, right?
Vlog, yeah.
Ang tag 50 or 25?
Huh?
1 gallon?
Let me see.
You can see? Oh. This one is 25 pesos. Wala mag-imihalin diri day?
How much is a gallon?
1 gallon is 130 with gallon.
130?
Yeah. You want to see?
1 gallon, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of heavy for me to carry, but
This one, how about this one?
yeah.
1 gallon.
What are two small ones?
The small one, that one? You half gallon?
Yeah.
No, only this one.
How about two? What are two? How much are these?
You want this two?
Yeah, two.
Yeah, 100. Two.
100? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm down at Carbone Market, very huge wholesale retail market in the downtown, public market in the downtown area of Cebu City, and every town and city has a public market, and there's lots of smaller markets. Some of the more local markets, wherever you're staying, they will come down here and buy some of their goods here. They have family or friends or contacts. Other places they will have some things directly delivered to their markets. It's I come down here just to pay for the taxi, 100 pesos down and back. Just one order of broccoli down here more than pays I save from what the cost is in the supermarket. It's fresher, much less expensive. So yeah, shop in the markets. Now I've been in the Philippines 3 different trips, total about 9 years, and I've been to a number of markets and other cities and their markets. And things a lot of things have changed in the 9 years that I've been here. It used to be that you would bargain a little more than what you do now. More and more of the vendors have listed prices posted. Now, if you want to bargain with them, I've gotten to know what the prices are in the supermarket. So when I come down here, I have a pretty good idea. If they're somebody's going to try to gouge me or something. So yeah, it's a good idea if you bring a Filipino along. And my experience in Cebu City with taxi drivers and the people in the market is they generally give me a fair price. And taxi drivers here have a very good reputation, as does the people in the market. I have had a couple times where I thought, no, that's too high. That's too high. You're giving me the foreigner price. And there generally are a lot of other vendors selling basically the same thing. So you just not going to argue with somebody. I'll just walk down to another stall basically. But I love the experience down here. They are building a couple buildings, trying to modernize it, get it to be a little more hygienic, have wash areas. They've got a wet market, which is the animal market. You can get your fresh processed animal products if you're into that, if you want that. I think in general they process the animals very early in the morning. In fact, in the middle of the night, you might say. So if you want the freshest meat, get down here in the middle of the night or very early morning, and you get that very freshest meat. And I'll talk a little more about these markets and other things here, but probably the most important thing for you to do is, number one, know what your budget is, know what you can afford, and set limits. Set limits on your rent, on your food. What you're going to spend on food, on the money you're going to spend on girls, dates, those types of things, and stick to it. And then keep track of your expenses, because if you don't know what you're spending money on, I've had a couple friends say, I don't know where my money went this month. And they kind of do. They spent it on a lot of girls. They bought a girl a phone, and they paid for their this and that. And I know one friend, he's had a number of different girlfriends, and they come over and see what he has in his fridge and his cupboards, and can I have this? Can I take this? And so then he has to go back to the grocery store and make another shopping trip. That's fine. That's fine. It's great to help the people out, but understand what your limits are, because a lot of Filipinos, taxi drivers will say, "Oh, your dollar is very strong here," which it is now.
How much?
Papaya, 35 per kilo. Right now it's 35 per kilo, sir.
35 per kilo?
Yes.
Where'd they come from?
From Mindanao.
Mindanao. Where in Mindanao?
Davao.
Which one is the more ripe?
This ripe. You want ripe? This one. Ripe.
That one's ripe?
Yes. That's the ripe one.
Okay.
You can use it.
What is that? 1 kilo?
No. This, I think it's only 18 pesos.
Huh?
18 pesos.
Okay, well let me get
another one. This one.
Yeah, that one's too ripe.
It's also ripe one.
Let me get one not ripe.
Not ripe.
One-
Want that ripe. This one. It's beautiful.
Okay. Talk me into it.
And back to the cost of living and the dollar, the higher value of the dollar, the lower value of the peso. Many people think, oh, you're very rich because of the higher value of the US dollar or the various other currencies. But if you're like me, I buy a lot of imported foods, and I could reduce my expenses quite a bit by buying more local type things. And I have done some of that. Maybe I'll do a video about that at some point in time. But inflation has eaten into that stronger dollar because a lot of this stuff is imported, and because of the lower value of the peso, imported goods cost a lot more. So just be aware of that and understand how you're spending your money. One thing I would suggest too, in my time here, I have met several expats who have come here and they have had medical emergencies initially, and get yourself some travel insurance. And the sites that I have watched, they say don't buy it through the airlines offer that type of thing, some kind of travel insurance. And what I've read is that generally is more expensive and not the best. There are other travel insurance companies that do a better job, and I'll do a video about that here in the next few weeks, perhaps. But yeah, I've seen guys, they come here for 3-6 months, something like that, to their initial visit, and they have an medical emergency right away, and $2, $3, $4, $5,000 out the door into the hospital to the doctors. Something they had not planned on. You can also, I just watched a video today that Medicare, if you're not out of the country, I think more than 6 months, the USA, in fact, some of the Advantage plans will cover you. Medicare Advantage plans might cover you when you are overseas. But I just read today that many hospitals are starting to not take the Advantage plans anymore. And the video I talked to said that even up to 45-50% of the hospitals are going to quit accepting that in the very near future. I did a video not so long ago about Pacific Cross. It used to be aligned with, I think, a partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Now it's changed to Pacific Cross. And I've talked to a number of insurance companies over the years, and a lot of them don't want to take people over 60 or 65. So that eliminates a lot of people. And Pacific Cross will insure people up to 100 years old. So that covers a lot of ground there. And I checked my premiums; they'd be just a little over $2,000 a year. A little less than, I think, right around $200 a month. Reasonable at my age. And another way, I've done a lot of videos, dozens and dozens of videos about condominiums, housing developments, subdivisions, what they look like, what they cost, and the cost of living videos, travel videos. And the thing is, the experts say only spend 25 to 35% of your net income on your housing. In fact, many people in the USA spend much more than that, and around the world, because of the high cost, inflation, high cost of housing and rent, and higher interest rates. I read an article today about there are certain cities where, I think, Fargo, North Dakota, Fargo, Bismarck, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, they listed a number of others, where it's under 20%, down in the teens, 13, 14, 15% of the wages in the area, average wages, what people pay for rent. But much of the USA, much, much, much higher. 35, 45, 55% of their income is going there. People can't afford that anymore. So I suggest when you first come here, until you get your bearings and understand how much you're spending on other things, stick to the lower limit. Stick to 20%. Figure 20% of your net income each month. And hopefully you have some kind of savings backup and emergency plans. You know, I've said this in other videos. When I first came here, I was here, I think, a little over 6 months, and all of a sudden my Social Security checks stopped being deposited in my U.S. bank, and I waited another week. Then I called them. They said, "Oh, sir, we sent you a letter a couple of months ago saying we overpaid you, and you aren't going to get a check for 6 months. If you fill out this form, you can just get a reduced amount for a couple of years, something like that." Well, I never got that mail from my daughter, so they said, "Well, you can go to the embassy, U.S. Embassy in Manila, if you want to fill out the form." And I thought, well, I can survive for 6 months, and that's what I did. I just waited 6 months. But consider that. Have that in your plans, that your income is going to be disrupted for a number of months, because it could be. There are a number of ways to shop here as well. You can shop online. Oftentimes you can find things online that are less expensive than they are in the stores. Generally, electronics cost more. Your phones, computers, other gadgets, generally they cost more. I think they probably a high tariff when they come in here, get shipped in from other countries. And I think I bought 2 laptops here over the years, and I think I figured out 15 to 20% higher than the same thing in the USA. So memory cards, very expensive here, and bring them in from your country. A way to save money here is to purchase some things outside the Philippines and bring them in with you. If you are bringing them in for personal use, there should not be a customs duty on there. If you are shipping yourself something, I just had a subscriber ask me about that. Should I come to the Philippines and buy a computer for this person, or should I buy it in the U.S. and bring it over? You can buy it cheaper in the U.S. generally, and if you shipped it over, there's a good chance, if it's over $200, that there would be a pretty high customs fee on it, and it would end up costing more than if you bought it over here. So keep that in mind. And the other question was, what about voltage? Is the voltage going to be a problem? For quite a number of years, most gadgets, phones, computers, are dual voltage. They'll handle both 110 volt and 220 volt, so that shouldn't be a problem. Now, some of your power tools, if you bring your power tools and your blender and different things like that work on 110 only, that's going to be an issue. You can get a voltage that sends voltage up, but they're big and expensive to get one the size that you would probably need anyway. Looking forward to your comments. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you next time.